we go. Here we go. Good Saturday morning. I'm KHOU meteorologist Chris Ramirez. We are starting off with mostly cloudy skies across our area, but we are expecting those conditions to once again remain mostly just quiet for the morning, and then those storms ramping up through the afternoon hours. So as far as our weather headlines, afternoon downpours and storms possible, temps remaining hot and muggy through the week, and then we will be tracking the chance for rain each and every afternoon through the next week or so, because we are expecting this unsettled weather pattern to once again return and continue. So looking at those temps, if you are heading out the door, we are in the lower 80s. It's already feeling like 90 degrees out at Hobby and Bush airports, so the humidity is still in full force across our area. So as we look at the hourly planner, it's going to be between the hours of 2 to 3 p.m. that we will see that storm activity start ramping up. Usually the warmest parts of the day will start fueling that storm activity through the start of start of our afternoon between 12 and 1. So today in Houston, high of about 94, afternoon storms likely, and there will be a 60% chance of showers and storms. I think most of those storms will be moving in from the north. So also keep in mind that there will be a risk for flooding. It's going to be isolated risks. Storm Prediction Center is still keeping us under a marginal risk for flooding. That's a 1 out of 4. So we could see some ponding on roadways. This is all thanks to a stationary, well, actually a very fast moving front that's moving southward, and you're actually able to see some of these downpours already making their way into our northern areas, especially in and around from Cleveland to Livingston. So we're looking at these downpours that's causing some flooding concerns along the I-59 corridor up towards Lufkin. So we could start seeing more of these storms move southward, and that in turn is going to be bringing us the risk for some of these downpours to become a little bit problematic as we head into the afternoon hours. So as we look at our future track, we are expecting between the hours of 12 to 2 to 3 p.m. is when we could start seeing some of these downpours make their way through League City, even Galveston, Houston, likely to start seeing more of that storm activity, and then it's going to become a bit more widespread and scattered between 4 and 5 p.m. So we are tracking the potential for some of these storms to also be strong as well as we get to the warmer parts of the day. So rain chances definitely in the store for us for today, and that's going to be ending at least by later this evening between 7 and 8 p.m. for tonight. So expecting those conditions to remain mostly calm for now, but we do have the chance for afternoon storms later on this afternoon, and we could get between 2 and 3 inches of rainfall in some locations, especially here in the Houston area, especially if it does come to those slow moving downpours later on today. So we have to keep that in mind. That rain chance is definitely in the picture, and it's all thanks to this frontal boundary that's moving through and bringing us this unsettled weather. So as far as your travel forecast, high temps are going to be in the 90s. We are going to see most of that rain potential here across southeast Texas and east Texas, but we're not really expecting to see any of that later into Sunday and into Monday, especially for the central portions of the state. So expecting that front moving southward, keeping the weather pattern unsettled. We also have a high pressure system that's setting up to the west of us. That is going to be really just remaining there, at least for the time being. And so we're just going to be influenced by this unstable atmosphere as we go into much of next week. So we're going to have to really just kind of pay attention to those daily rain chances for each and every afternoon, starting on Monday and then lasting through Friday. So as far as our drought report that was released this past Thursday, it's looking more likely that we are starting to see some of these abnormally dry conditions starting to creep in closer towards the Houston area. So just keep that in mind, that we do need some rain to kind of keep us out of the drought situation. It's not as bad as what we were looking at areas off towards the west, but looking at what's going on right now, actually I just showed you the drought conditions that were about a couple of months ago. But as we look at right now, we're actually seeing not any drought conditions. Also, they've seen improvements out in San Antonio, even portions of South Texas, but we're actually in good standing here across the southeast Texas going into the next few days. As far as the tropics, no activity expected for the next 7 days. Things are going to be quiet across the Atlantic basin, so there's no really named storms for us to worry about. However, we are heading into the peak of hurricane season. We usually see some of those storms arrive in August as well as into the month of September. September 10th being that peak date, but of course we're in the beginning of August, so we have to keep that in mind, that we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled, as well as paying attention to the tropics and staying ahead of the storm as we go into the next few days. So it's looking at those high temperature trends. We're going to remain above average. High temps are going to be in the 90s. It's going to be quite hot and humid, even though you are seeing some cooler temperatures for Sunday and Monday. It's still going to be humid out there, and you're still going to have to practice those heat safety measures, especially if conditions are cloudy, because we could see feels like temps in the hundreds, all thanks to the humidity and the atmospheric moisture levels. As far as the next 7 days, rain chances for today, this afternoon, it's looking more likely that this afternoon is going to be the highest rain chance for today. This is where we're going to see more of those scattered storms in the picture, but then also going into next week, we're just going to continue to track those showers and storms through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we're still going to remain hot and humid. So each and every afternoon is going to have that rain chance as we once again return to this unsettled weather pattern. As far as our weather headlines, if you're just now joining us here on KHOU 11 Plus, we are expecting more downpours later this afternoon. If you're starting off this morning, we're seeing some cloudy skies, some cumulus clouds out there across Houston, and that really is just giving us a sign that our atmosphere is a bit unstable, and we are going to see the perfect ingredients to fuel any thunderstorm activity, especially as we head into the afternoon hours. So afternoon downpours and storms possible, remaining hot and muggy through the next few days, as well as we're going to continue to track those rain chances as we head into much of next week. So as if you're heading out the door, it is still muggy out there, but it's quiet. You might want to just use the time now to do those outdoor activities or run those errands, because we will start seeing that afternoon storm risk start ramping up after the noon hour. So high of 94, still hot for those areas that are going to be warming up and have the sunshine, but it's looking more likely that once we head into around the 12 p.m. hour, that's where we're going to start seeing that risk for that isolated flooding, which is the reason why the Storm Prediction Center has kept us under that marginal risk for flooding. That's a 1 out of 4. So really what that means is that we could see some isolated ponding on roadways and some flooded roadways in some locations. And we're already starting to see some of those downpours creeping into our northern areas, especially out in Livingston and Cleveland. They were issuing some flood advisories for these storms that were just over the Lufkin area, and I can only imagine that those flood advisories are going to follow these storms as they move southward into around the Lake Livingston area, but continue to keep in mind that we are going to see more of these downpours move southward as we progress through the next maybe 2 to 3 hours, and we're already starting to see some storms and some downpours flaring up near Liberty and Winnie off east of Houston. So definitely keep that in mind. Storms possible between 12 and 2 is when we will see those storms ramping up, and we could see some of those downpours moving through our major area highways and roadways. So keep in mind that we are expecting some reduced visibility, as well as some potential downpours that could make driving hazardous. So be extra careful out there and give yourself enough time heading to and from your destination. So we're tracking rain chances today, and we'll have more for you. We'll give you the latest news and weather headlines if you make sure to tune in for the KHOU 11 newscast at 9 a.m. Of course, myself, along with anchor Trayson Bragg, will be giving you the latest on what we're expecting to see throughout the day and throughout the weekend here across Southeast Texas and the Houston area. But just to wrap it all up, highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s, rain chances ramping up this afternoon. Each and every afternoon is going to have that rain potential through the next few days. So definitely keep that in mind and stay safe out there, and definitely drive safely, as we will see some wet roadways going into those afternoon hours. Have a good rest of your day.